call to order the Monday, August 9th, 2021 meeting of the Ellettsville Town Council.
What do I record? Hang on a second. Recording the cloud or the computer?
The cloud.
Okay. Thank you.
Chief?
Recording in progress.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Marshall?
Our Heavenly Father, we come before you again, and we thank you so much for this little town. We thank you for the leadership we have. We ask you to continue to bless those people and lead and guide them in a way to please thee. We ask you to be with this country as we work our way through our problems. As these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Sandy, roll call, please.
Scott Oldham.
Here.
William Ellis.
Here.
Trevor Sager.
Here.
Dan Swafford. Emily Samples. Here.
Approval of minutes for the regular meeting, July 26, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
I'm sorry, I was still making my check marks. I need to amend the minutes.
Okay, hang on one second. Let's get through this. We'll come right back to it.
Okay.
Is there any nays for approval of the minutes? Now we'll go into amendments.
Okay. Last month, I don't have the copy with me, but I made the statement that the Headley property with the PUD was annexed in as R1, and then it was petitioned to be rezoned to a C3. And it was actually annexed as a C3. And several years later, it was petitioned for a re-annexation, or rezoning from R1 to C3. So for whatever confusion was there, it's been done twice, but in the minutes, I just thought I'd like to correct it to say, maybe just delete my statement, and because Kevin had said that it was annexed as a C3.
Okay, so that we're all clear. It was originally annexed coming into the town as C3. For whatever reason, whether it be a scripters error or whatever else, someone thought it was R1, so we recodified it as a C3?
Yes, so it's been twice.
The council did or the planning commission did?
It was presented to the Plan Commission, who forwarded it to the council as a zoning change.
But when it originally came in, it came in as C3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, my statement had no bearing, and I'd just like to delete my statement out of the minutes.
Okay. I'll admit this is the first one in all the years on the council. Council have any objections to amending the minutes as per Sandy's request?
Actually, just a question.
Sure.
Darla, on the minutes, is it supposed to be actually what was said? I mean, do we have to leave things that are in error in there, and can we explain it later? Because if somebody compares that to the video.
Well, I think the minutes are supposed to be a summary of what happened at the meeting. There's
Okay.
not usually an effort to transcribe everything that everybody said. So as long as this meeting shows that the minutes were amended, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Should there be a motion to amend?
Yes, our motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Is there said motion?
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who seconded the first original? And it also passed, right? And then we amended. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Action to pay accounts payable, vouchers, and payroll.
So. I'll second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are no resolutions, no ordinances on first reading, no ordinances on second reading. There is no old business. Flood report, showing none. Envision Ellettsville update.
Well, I was gonna say, on the old business, we had made a motion at the last meeting that we were going to table the PUD discussion that Sandy referenced
Right.
and vote to this meeting. And just so the public knows, I think we need to,
Go ahead.
yeah, we, last meeting, because Dan Swafford wasn't here, and we felt the other council members had felt we should have a full board with that, they moved to table it. Dan is not here today, and we knew that in advance. So it was put forth that it should be tabled again. Is there anybody from the public that was here for that meeting, for that purpose? Okay.
This didn't even appear on our agenda for
No,
this
it did
evening.
not. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure if the public were confused, then it'd be a different discussion. Okay, but that's why. So the plan is now, I guess, for the next meeting or when Dan is
Assuming
here.
Dan is here when we have a full crew,
Okay.
so.
And I do email out some agendas to some of those residents that were here, and 2 of them contacted me back by email and asked why it wasn't there, and I told them that it would be on the next agenda, so they were notified a little bit ahead of time.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that, Sandy.
You good with this?
Yeah, I don't want this put off too long, I don't think, for the residents that need to know kind of what's up, and also for the property, the ones that want to build. I mean, so
Yeah,
if
again, I
Dan's
think-
not here, I think we eventually are going to need to make the decision.
I don't think that he's planning on being gone much longer.
Okay.
But should something occur, then we can always bring it back up.
And to be clear, I talked to the petitioner, and they were okay with waiting. And Dan he feared that he would not have Wi-Fi. So since he went to his destination, we text, and he does not have Wi-Fi. So just to make sure that there would be 5 board members, as everyone seemed to wish, we decided to wait till the next meeting.
Okay, is there a Vision Ellettsville update? Mr. Rary?
Dan Rarick with the Ellettsville Chamber and Envision Ellettsville. We had our second steering committee meeting with our consultants last week, and they shared data that they'd been gathering and the image of Ellettsville that is evolving. Some of the demographics seem to be a bit inaccurate, and so Kevin Talati was going to share updated information with them about the building permits and some other information to give them a better picture about the growth. They explained the mapping process that they would use, allowing people to show what they wanted to keep and what ideas they had for improvements. And this exercise will be accessible from the website. The website is now up, envisionellettsville.org, and also a Facebook page is up. So people can go to that and check out what's going on. They spent a lot of time talking about a logo for the project. To me, that's not as important as the logo for the town and going forward with the conversation about our eventual branding. There was a nice article about Envision Ellettsville in the last edition of the Ellettsville Journal. And I don't mean the last edition, I mean the last edition. It's exciting to have the article in there, but super sad that the journal is no more. That's my report.
I'd like to echo that as well, and forgive me, I don't remember exactly how many years it was, but significant.
1939.
So, significant amount of time, and that history is now complete, unfortunately.
Yep. It's too bad. Thank you.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to add what Dan said. The website that they're going to have up and running, well, that is up and running, there'll be several features that allow for town citizens and members of the community to have input, and it'll be very interactive, and there's several different ways that you can submit what you like about the town, what you'd like to see happen to the town, what you don't like about the town, and things like that. So as the website is up and running and the Envision Ellettsville project moves forward, there's going to be a lot of ability for the community to really get involved. Up till now, they've been getting organized and doing data collection, but now with the website, they'll really do some really good data collection, and much like the surveys we did for the comprehensive plan. But even better than that is the fact that there'll be a website that everybody can get on. So you should visit the website.
Outstanding. Council questions, comments?
If anybody's on Facebook, go to the page and like it. There'll be a lot of interactivity. The website's very interactive too, and they're soliciting opinions on, your vision for Ellettsville too, because the more input we have, the better this vision's going to be. And if it's not a good vision, the committee putting this together is top-notch. So then we just need more voices, input.
Okay. Moving on then to new business. Request for utility superintendent promotion at the Department of Public Works Utility Division.
Yes, we have an opening for utility superintendent for water. Basically, their job description is the transmission and distribution system, and the daily workload and even some capital projects would be under the purview of the water superintendent. They do wastewater collection system work as well. So we have an opening due to the last superintendent finding another job. And so fortunate for us, we have someone that I'd like to promote within the department. He's been with us since '98 as a part-time employee, and in 2000 he went to full-time. He's been a laborer. He was a sewer camera technician. He's been an operator. He's currently working as a meter reader. And if everybody knows, the meter reader is one of the most important jobs we have in town, because that's how we get our revenue. And number two, they know everything about the town. It becomes kind of eerie how much the meter reader becomes like the postman or the milkman or whatever. So anyway, the gentleman's name is Kevin Fluke, and like I said, he's worked here since 2000. He is a good worker. He's a real good worker. He has institutional knowledge that'll help him grow into the job. Like I said, he's did almost all the work jobs that you'd have, so he'll interact with the current staff real well. So I'd like to recommend that Kevin Fluke be promoted to water superintendent. The job pays $68,401. I would make the motion that he come in at $66,321, which leaves basically $1 an hour to be earned as he gets an IDEM operator's license. So I currently have the operator's license that takes care of the town, but as a carrot, I would really like to see him at some time in the future pass the test and become a full water superintendent.
Okay, comments from council. Action from council.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for Kevin Flute to be promoted to water superintendent at the Department of Public Works Utility Division
At the rate as specified.
at the rate as specified.
I'll second that. Sandy, you have a motion, a second, whenever you're ready.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples. Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you. He's going to make us an excellent supervisor. So.
Congratulations.
Kevin's back here in the back.
Mike said you can keep the Jeep.
Come on, sit down.
Next is a request to promote a part-time fireman to full-time.
Thank you. I also have a second part of that, is asking a full-time to go to part-time. So what this means is recent new hire, full-time firefighter Levi Parrish, has taken a job with the Indiana University Police Department, and his last day is August 13th, this week, and he would like to go to part-time. And we know at the beginning he will not have a lot of time, and we can work with that. So we've invested a lot of time and training into Levi. He wants us to try to stay on, so I do recommend that. And to take his place, I'm asking that we hire Ryan Purcell full-time. Ryan is a former volunteer firefighter. He also worked part-time. He now has a regular shift as a part-time firefighter. He also is a legacy in the public safety world, as his grandfather was Larry Purcell, one-time Sciensville Town Marshal and Fire Chief of Bean Blossom Township. I do recommend to the board that we have Ryan Purcell promoted to full-time and Levi Parrish be allowed to go to part-time.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any motions from the board?
Okay, so Purcell,
I believe that's
okay,
the first one we did with this.
then he's going to, okay. So we make a motion with both of them together,
I think you need to do them separately, probably.
do them separate? Okay. I make a motion that we, put Levi Parish?
No, it's
Get my next one.
Ryan Purcell. Excuse me, full-time.
Okay. Okay, I make a motion that we put Ryan Purcell to full-time from part-time.
Second.
Motion second, Sandy?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries.
And the second one would be to allow Levi Parish to go from full-time to part-time.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we put Levi Parish from full-time to part-time.
Second.
Motion second, Sandy?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Privilege of the floor. Anyone having business for the council tonight that is not part of our regular agenda? Anyone in the gallery or online? Seeing no one, we'll move on to supervisor comments.
I'll start. Today, I had a call last Friday, I think, from the governor's office, and they wanted to send down a couple of his aides to meet with me and just see what's going on in Ellettsville. So it's kind of coincidental to the fact that the governor's coming at the end of the month. But so I had a good talk with a gentleman named Andrew Forster and Tyler Warman. And so they were just interested in what we needed from the state office of governor and how we could better communicate about things that cause us problems or things that we might need from them, such as like when we do trail grants, when NDOT and DNR give us conflicting information. And so we talked about that and our growth, and they asked about our infrastructure and our school system and all that, and just kind of checking in with us. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I did ask them if they knew their governor was coming to town, and indeed they do, and in fact both of them will be here. So anyway, I thought it was pretty nice that they'd stop by and see somebody in Ellettsville. They wanted to meet at the Jiffy Tree, so they had a special request to meet there and eat there so they could get some ice cream. So anyway, so they did know about our community. So anyway, so the governor's coming. That's the other thing I'd say. On the 31st, we're going to close the town hall, this portion of it, on the 30th, so the chamber can set up for it. I believe somebody's getting peonies from Alaska. They're bringing them in, and so we're really going to be putting on the dog for the governor. So I strongly recommend that you try to come if you can. It's going to be capacity, I'm sure. In fact, I think so many people's going to be here that I told them to all keep moving around, so Mike couldn't count them. And so anyway, it's pretty exciting that he's coming to town. So other than that, that's about all I got.
Okay, thank you. Other supervisors?
I'm good, thanks.
I have one thing. Just want to let the council know, we had a tragedy over the weekend involving public safety in this area, and it happened just outside of town. Longtime resident, Brandon Staley, Edgewood High School grad, I believe, in '93, passed away while working as a paramedic with the Owen County EMS. A medical episode happened just outside of town, and unfortunately, he did not survive the episode. Brandon was also a paper boy for the local newspaper, the Chester and Dewey Drive area. So it was a rough time for a lot of the public safety people in the region, as he and his wife, LaVon, was also involved in public safety as well, and EMS and instruction. So I just want to remind everybody that we did have that situation this past week, or I'm sorry, yesterday, and you know, it's hitting everybody kind of hard in a small community like Spencer, where everybody knows everyone, much like here. So I can't fathom what everybody's going through, and I hope I never have to, but just wanted to put that out there that, we did lose a lifelong resident of Ellettsville this past week, an unfortunate situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Other supervisors? First day on the job, it's your shot.
I'd just like to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to take on this job and further my career with the town of Ellettsville.
Moving now to council comments.
Did we have anything to discuss with COVID policy?
Oh, sorry, I almost dropped the ball on that. I was going to mention that we had a budget meeting, thank you very much. I didn't have it written down anywhere. We had a budget meeting today and COVID came up first. To me, it seems like the policy that we put in place, I believe is an ordinance 2029. And I think, I'm sorry?
I put a copy on your desk. I gave everybody a copy.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, I think it may be out of date. When we put it in place, there was no vaccine. We didn't know where we was heading. People were worried about paychecks and being able to feed their families. And so we put in a policy that doubled what the government allowed for being off for COVID-related illnesses. Since then, I think December 31st, the federal government's mandate or guideline, I'm not sure which one it was, it has run out. And so I believe we're in a different place now where we do have vaccines. And so maybe we need to revisit it, leave it alone, but we really ought to revisit it and decide if we just need to delete it or update it or what have you. And I'm sure that the lead should come from the board on this. The other thing that's going on right now, we have new guidelines that says what we should do, but doesn't say what we have to do from the feds. But the local mandate in the county, I believe, says we have to wear a mask in certain circumstances that may not fit what we do here. So we need a lead from the board.
And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, Darla, and I don't really want to get into a giant argument with anyone, not on the board, but external to us. Ellettsville is a home rule city, as is Bloomington. Therefore, county policies, for the most part, do not apply within the town limits. Am I correct on that?
That's correct.
So I guess if, we've had some questions. Is Ellettsville enacting a mask mandate? And of course, my colleagues up here may choose to do so. And if so, we'll give everyone an opportunity here in a moment to introduce that. If there's changes that you want to see, I think we need to understand where you'd like to see it go as the town manager. And then we can make modifications as it were. And not to be harsh, but to simply say, well, county's doing this, we need to do that. I don't know that that's necessarily a thought shared by some of the board members.
It's not something I would support. I'll tell you that point blank. Cards on
Well,
the table.
temporarily, I mean, one of the problems with COVID, besides it killing a lot of people, is that all the rules and all the facts and everything changed, in the spring, everything changed every 4 hours. Mm-hmm. And so still today, everything changes, and so it leaves our workforce confused about what to do. So I've basically left it up to the department heads to run their own show within, their departments. And, Mike's the health officer that you made the health officer, and we decided between the two of us that putting out a memo that says, here are the federal guidelines, which says you should, but doesn't say you have to do social distancing and masks and what have you, was a good way to at least inform everybody that those guidelines were there, and that we'll have to decide if we want to change anything. But
I can't disagree with you, Mike, that the lead needs to come from the board. But again, if there's suggestions, we would be more than happy to entertain those. I think you're correct, at least my personal thoughts, and I'll let the other ones weigh in, that the individual department heads probably have a better handle on what needs to happen in their departments, because everybody is different subtly to some degree. The one thing that COVID has brought sharply into focus, and I don't mean to be belittling at all, is the public's general misunderstanding of how the hierarchy of government works and how the Constitution interacts with state rights versus federal rights versus home rule cities versus counties. And quite frankly, it's a quagmire right now. We have the federal government saying, well, we suggest this because legally they can't mandate anything. You know, and you have the state that can mandate something saying nothing for the most part, other than some suggestions. You have one county going one way, one county going another. You have the individual home rules all over the map, and it's just left quite frankly, the good folks in the public in a confusing mess. And it's an interesting time to try and figure out where do you fit, because there's a lot of businesses in Ellettsville who think they have to have a mask by county mandate, but other than those with a health permit don't. So that kind of is a dual thing. Again, all ears if you want to suggest things that you'd like to see changed as a town manager that you don't believe is within your purview, but I quite frankly think that anything affecting the employees is within your purview for the most part to do as you see fit. If it's something you need the board to check off on, then of course we'll be more than happy to entertain it. But as far as our role in mandating a mask mandate within the town confines, again, I'll leave that to my colleagues to decide whether they feel that appropriate or not.
Well, the whole situation where you pit collective good against individual rights, and then when you watch how the government is utilizing them for personal considerations. So every time you bring up something that's a really good idea, how to deal with COVID or how to deal with individuals and make sure they protect themselves and everybody else, every time you come up with a good idea, if you sleep on it, you wake up and it's not as good an idea as you thought. It's truly a conundrum on what to do because there's such a huge importance in both the collective and the individual that it is truly a conundrum. So I really don't have any good ideas because every time I have a good idea, if I allow somebody else to talk, I usually find out it's only half a good idea.
Well, quite frankly, and I appreciate everything you say, there is nothing that we've said or I think will say that prohibits anyone from saying, I want to wear a mask. Correct. Oh, absolutely, please do. Or I want to get vaccinated. Absolutely, please do. Or quite frankly, I don't want to be vaccinated. Again, that's your choice. You know, we kept for months saying follow the science, and now, quite frankly, that science changes, and it seems to change in hours. We were going one way, now we're going the other. So it's left a lot of people with some questions as to, does the science even know what the science says? And that is confusing to folks, and it breeds a lot of distrust. And that's an unfortunate fact. And I really wish I had all the answers, but like you, every time I think I have a good idea, give me 15 minutes and I'll think of 4 reasons not to do that. So I think at this point it's personal choice.
With the home rule, is that correct that they do have a Board of Health certificate that they do have to go by the county rules?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If the county has the ability to pull a restaurant license or a bar license or, yes, the county health department can do that if they don't follow the mask mandate.
And the only way around that for the future is if we had our own Board of Health, is that correct? Or how does that work?
Probably, yeah, but,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not talking about starting a Board of Health, I'm trying to completely understand it. I'll say for me, sometimes the best solution is no solution, just do nothing. I mean, it doesn't need to, it's not something I think government needs to do. I truly don't, because the right answer, government's good for one-size-fits-all answers. This isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. And I'm so frustrated that we have business owners that do not have Board of Health permits, feel like they're being bullied into following county policy. And I do think we have a responsibility as a town to let these people know, no, you do not have to, it's your choice. If a business wants to, that is their business, that is their right as a business. But to think that some bureaucrat that has no jurisdiction over them can tell them what to do under the color of law, that's a scary situation. And the county, every press release, not once have they made that exception about Ellettsville, not once.
Bloomington for that matter.
Or Bloomington. Bloomington, they're hand in hand in designing it though, so that would be, but I agree, there should be,
They're both home rule cities.
right,
As
Bloomington
I believe
could issue
Steinsville
their
is a
own.
home rule city, is it not, our town?
Yes.
Yep. So I mean, that word needs to be out, and we have to do that. And I don't want our businesses in trouble, and thinking if there's any fines of any businesses or anything, let us know. Because I'd love to find out if the county's doing anything like that to any of our businesses that they don't have jurisdiction over.
Other comments, questions?
And this, I'm just, from hearing things through the years, I thought that if we did not, like, have a health department, then we were under the guidance of the Monroe County Health Department. And the same with the animal control. We didn't have shelter and animal officers, so the county does that service for us. So that's a little confusing
Well,
for
because
me.
we pay the county to do that service for us. We could elect simply not do it at all. But that's not how we've gone. We could contract with Spencer or Owen County to come do it, but we chose instead to contract with Monroe County. So that's a contract between us and the county to enforce animal ordinances and/or to enforce, come pick up dogs, cats, possums, apparently. Yes, I'm still reeling from the possum, Darla. Yes, I get it. But that's a little bit of a difference.
Well, I just know after the whole smoking ordinance incident, they kind of weren't as cooperative with us on issues as they had been previous to that.
Well, there we get into the whole situation of governments trying to exert influence, and then if they can't exert the influence, then they start to deny cooperation, and that's just wrong from all sorts of different levels.
And didn't we win that fight with the smoking?
We did.
Yes.
Then that's the answer there.
Other questions or comments? No further? Other supervisor comments or I'm sorry, I'm back to the council at this point. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.